Hi, welcome to TDCatTech and welcome to Stereo Tool. Now, I was looking at this and I was thinking, what can I actually do a video on here? Because this is quite possibly the most involved tool I've ever seen. I mean, it's just unbelievably detailed and complete. It's a broadcast processor, and it is very specifically that because it's designed for FM or AM or streaming, and it's designed to process audio and make it sound, well, arguably better, but certainly more consistent and within kind of legal limits and all that, those type of things. It has so many features on this, and it's available for Linux, it's available for macOS, it's available for Windows. And when I moved to macOS, I thought, oh, you know, one of the things I've lost is my ability to have an audio processor. It's very niche, I'll give you that. It's not something that everybody's going to need, but it's something I like to have, and I just love the sound of certain types of music put through a broadcast processor. It's just something I like. Personal preference. I mean, you know, what I want to do on this video anyway, I'll try and keep this fairly short, this introduction. I'll talk you very briefly through the signal chain. You can see the signal chain, which starts here on the left and moves across to the right-hand side. I'll talk you through as quickly as I can the different aspects of it. And then all I want to do is just play you some music and show you what this sounds like. The music I'm going to have to play is, of course, non-copyright music, and I've got that from Artlist, which I would recommend to anybody. And believe it or not, I have an affiliate link which you can use with Artlist. So if you like the music you hear on this video, then go to Artlist and check them out using this link here, and the one in the description as well. I'll put it there. Easier to click on there, isn't it? Right. So moving on, starting on the left-hand side, the very first part of the chain is a declipper. The purpose of a declipper, I just want to say, before I begin, I just want to say that the documentation that's out there for this, there are forums, there's brilliant documentation, instructions, you can hover over here and find out information about anything as well. It's all there. So if you want to download this software, you can download it for free. This is a paid version I'm using here, but you can download it for free and see all that information yourself. So if you want to find out proper details on this, just go out and read. I mean, there's tons and tons of stuff out there on this. But so we start with a declipper, and of course, a lot of waveforms are naturally clipped and have distortion in them. The purpose of this is it analyzes those and it reconstructs those waveforms in order to reduce that distortion. Very complicated. Don't know how it works, not even going to claim to believe or think that I do. Then we go on to a noise gate. A noise gate's exactly that. So if I were on a microphone, for example, and stopped talking, it would drop the noise gate in and it would reduce the background level at a set threshold level across a number of different frequency bands. In this case here, you can see there are 7 different bands across which the noise gate is working. Then we also have natural dynamics, and again, this is another one that analyzes the music and tries to bring back some degree of dynamics to the mass of pre-processed music out there these days that is mastered from the studio with no dynamics in it. So effectively, you know, a broadcast processor like this will always work best with music with dynamics in it. So, you know, pop music that has some degree of varying audio level. If you push pre-processed music into a processor, it just comes out often sounding like a mess. So what this is trying to do is look at that and say, well, where can I put back some natural dynamics and make everything sound a bit more, as the name suggests, natural. Then we have phase rotation stuff here, which is, of course, to make your waveform as symmetrical as possible, which is beneficial to the multiband limiters. Putting a decent waveform into those will always produce the best results. Then we have an auto EQ. A multiband limiter will, by its very nature of adjusting dynamics across different frequency ranges, different frequency bands, also act as an EQ, because if you bring up the level of a high frequency more than another high frequency band more than another frequency, you are naturally EQing that music. But some people may not want to have intensive multiband processing or any processing at all. And in this case, the Auto EQ does a great job there. That's what it's designed for. It's designed to look at the music and, I guess, produce a sort of slightly processed sound, I suppose, a slightly enhanced sound, but without any processing at all, which is a really nice feature. Then we have our AGC, absolutely essential to any setup like this. It's your slow hand on the pot to provide a continuous level into the multiband limiters. And in this case, I'm looking at a 4-band AGC down the bottom of the graphs here. The level meters here. These are our gates. So of course, when an AGC suddenly stops getting an input, it will gate immediately to stop that bringing up a ton of background noise. It's designed to give enough input into the multiband limiter with never actually sounding pumpy in any way. That's how an AGC should work. And this is across 4 different bands. Not necessary really to have 4 bands, but that's what I've opted for in this case. And moving on, then we have something called immersive bass. I don't actually know what that is. And then we have stereo boost, so enhancing the stereo image on a track, which is fairly subtle. It doesn't do anything crazy with that, but of course you can adjust the settings there. And we have azimuth correction as well. And then we have our first multiband limiter. In this case, I'm using a 6-band limiter, and there are 2 of these. In fact, you'll see it just a bit further down. We've got a second multiband limiter to just clean up anything that the first one didn't capture, or alternatively, I just add a bit more density as well, as it says in the hover documentation there. We also got a bass EQ as well, and then we have a true bass. Honestly, there's so much to this, but if you want information on all of this, go to their documentation, contact their support. The guy, when I contacted support, the creator of this, Hans, he responded to me in a really good amount of time, and the support was great. Proper, detail, like a proper conversation support rather than stock answers or anything like that. So it's really good. And there we go. Second multiband here, another 6-band processor. And then we have, I think that's an option I don't have. I'm not sure what that is. It's disabled. Sorry, that's another single band processor that you may wish to have on the end, but I don't have that enabled on my preset. And then we have a bass clipper, so a clipper dedicated purely to lower frequencies. Then we have our main advanced clipper and a hard limit as well. So if I go to the where is it here? It's not bass, highs. Oh no, limiting and clipping. I have a hard limit output as well, which is the final part of the chain, and that just says anything that's got through that is above this above the level you've specified. Clip it, make sure that nothing actually gets through. So it shouldn't really be doing much at all, that particular bit, but it's there in case you need it. So there we go. There's our signal chain. I've tried to do that as quickly as I can. This is a preset that I've been working on for a couple of days. It's based on one of the ones that's already in the software, and it's adjusted accordingly to my personal preferences. I think it's a good mix of something that sounds quite big, because that's what I like. It's something that's, I don't want a wall of sound. I want it to sound quite big and sort of, a fair amount of processing. So it's not going to suit classical music too well. It's not going to suit jazz. You wouldn't want to use something like this on jazz. But the test tracks that I've got for you here today are a mix of genres. I've got some classical, I've got some country, I've got some electronic music, I've got some jazz, and I've got some rock, relatively heavy rock for you. So I'll give them a try. You can take a listen. So let's start with a classical piece. It's very much a film-like piece, this. I won't play the whole song, but I will play certainly sort of like a minute of each or so. So let's start with this classical piece. All right, we'll stop that one there. Those of you who know about this type of thing will be able to look at a track like that and watch the meters and see exactly why everything's doing what it's doing. And that's what I like about this. You can tell exactly what's going on there with the multibands, with the AGC, with everything else. You can see exactly what's happening and relate and sort of say, yes, that's what I'd expect it to do there. So where the audio drops away there and it goes into a string, you don't want to bring that string up to a massively increased level, so you've just got a ton of background noise, as I mentioned. But of course it doesn't. The AGC gates, it doesn't bring it up too far. It's all kind of just, as far as I'm concerned, it's set right and it sounds wonderful. I mean, I love it. Again, you probably wouldn't use it for that type of music, but it works. So let's move on to some country.
I've got a million emails that I haven't read. Got a brake pad squeaking that I gotta check, but I don't mind it. 'Cause I got her riding on that shotgun side with that take me to the sunrise look inside her eyes. Now we're flying, yeah, we're flying. We got 10 miles of open road, blasting the radio. We got both windows down and no one around. Don't have to take it slow, we're good to go. There's
Turn my microphone on, that would help. I've tried to make this as clean as I can, by the way. I'm recording the mic and the tracks on my directly on my sound card here to the USB recorder on my sound card, and it's all 44.1 sample rate. The processor will do more than that, but in fact needs to do more than that if you're doing kind of RDS encoding and stuff. But so I've kind of kept the sample rate absolutely spot on across. So we've got no weird sample rate conversion happening with anything I'm not expecting. The video's been done at 44.1 as well. It's been uploaded in that way. So hopefully, apart from at your end now, where you may be listening on a 48K device, there's been no kind of weird stuff going on that's going to kind of dither anything or whatever. So there we go. There was a country song for you there. Let's try a bit of Anders Enger Jensen and Parallax Nova. Oh, there we are. Two electronic ones for you there. One was Time Jumper by 2050, and the other one is Anders Enger Jensen and Parallax Nova. Some of you might recognize Anders Enger Jensen from channels like Techmoan or 8-Bit Keys. Not 8-Bit Keys. I've forgotten the name of the channel now. Not 8-Bit Keys at all, is it? The 8-Bit guy. Yeah, he uses quite a lot of music from Anders. good stuff. You can go to his SoundCloud page or his website and take a look at his music there. I think he sells it on vinyl, he sells it on cassette and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, not an advert for Anders. And moving on, here is a classical, not classical piece now. We have a jazz piece for you. This is called, from what I can tell, Cœur d'Haleine, and it's by Pete James Johnson. There we go. Right. So I left that one a little bit longer because I wanted it to get to that section there where it has just the sort of symbol in the background. I think you'll agree that although this is, quite an aggressive processing setting, it doesn't overdo it. So on songs like that, where the level does drop back, it sort of, it works with that quite nicely and doesn't just try and squeeze too much out of the music. You can go directly to certain settings here. If I just take a look at the top left hand side of the screen here, you've got this loudness setting. That's a kind of quick adjust setting to just push more loudness and density in the music as well. And equally here you've got kind of a density setting too. So they are some nice easy settings for you to just be able to change. And if you have got something that it needs a bit more kind of oomph, if you like, you can put that in there. But I think this is a fairly nice preset. I will, for those of you who like this software, I will put the preset that I'm using here down in, I'll put a download to it in the description as well. So if you do want to download this preset, it's just a tiny file, I'm using Stereo Tool 9.83. I think you'll probably have to have a certain version. The good thing about this is on the free version, you can use everything. You just get a beep every so often. If you're using stuff that isn't part of your license, you'll just get a kind of beep coming in every so often. So, of course, you couldn't use it for broadcast, but you can use it to test. You can use it to listen as much as you'd like. And the final one is just a bit of rock. Let's try that. I like that. There we are. A couple of tracks for you. Some classical at the start, some electronic, some jazz, some country, and a bit of rock. Just looking at the Stereo Tool broadcast processor. And the main reason I like this, as I mentioned to you, is the fact that it's available for macOS. And it means that I am now able on macOS to do virtually everything that I was able to do on Windows, with the exception of programming walkie-talkies and radios and stuff, which is software that I don't think is ever going to be available for macOS. But check it out. It's on thimeo.com, I think, or also other websites changed recently. If you're into this sort of thing, let me know how or why or what you like to use, or do you use this tool? How do you find it? And thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed listening to a bit of music. If you've got any other music you'd like to hear through this, then I don't know, give me a shout and I can redo a video like this. If you'd like a video looking at it in a bit more detail, I can do that. But of course, my knowledge on this is fairly small compared to the likes of the people who, make this software. So, I'd probably be better interviewing Hans or something like that, and actually him explaining how each of these bits work, because realistically, I haven't got a clue. But thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon. Bye.